Tonight on Top Story, all staff of Norwegian Embassy in Ghana placed in quarantine after the embassy confirmed one of its staff brought the disease from Norway. We have the latest on this rapidly developing story, including the panic in Parliament as MPs fear their colleagues who recently travelled with the President to Norway will spread the disease.
People can just deliberately come here in order to attack members of Parliament by smearing, places, and so it should take it very, very seriously.
Perhaps the time has come for us to take a second look at even allowing visitors to Parliament.
Plus, Noguchi Memorial Institute under pressure, warning it may not be able to conduct rapid tests if multiple cases of coronavirus are recorded after Ghana confirms its first 2 cases.
We have not put our facilities to the level of large-scale community infection or exposure. So we'll definitely need more resources for testing in case we have infection more.
That's coming up on Top Story, brought to you by Gasem, the nation builder. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready, and Bond Savings and Loans. Your success is our passion. And tonight, the Norwegian Embassy in Ghana has announced a total shutdown of the embassy. All workers of the embassy have also been placed in quarantine after the embassy confirmed one of its staff tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. The health minister confirmed the cases late last night and clarified that the 2 cases originated from Norway and Turkey. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, and UN agencies in Ghana have all announced the shutdown of their offices after it emerged one of the 2 recorded coronavirus cases in Ghana is an employee of the union. The following statement is on the page or the Facebook page of the Norwegian Embassy, and it says the Embassy of Norway can confirm that one of our colleagues has tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. The person is in quarantine and the embassy is in close dialogue with Ghana Health Service. Routine contact tracing has commenced. All staff are also in quarantine and we are fully committed to assist with containment. The embassy is closed to the public until further notice, but staff are operating from home. We are thankful for the care and assistance offered by Ghana's health authorities and WHO Ghana, and also for the compassion showed. We urge everybody to follow the preventive measures issued by the WHO and Ghanaian authorities. That's the statement as put out by the Norwegian Embassy here in Ghana. Is on your Facebook page as well. Of course, on our pages as well, you can see that full statement. But what the statement fails to put out is who the staff is, and sources are saying that it's the Norwegian ambassador himself. And the other case we know is the UN staff, and as a result, the UN offices and, of course, the IMF offices in Ghana have all been shut down. I'll give you more details on that. But the Noguchi Memorial Institute says it's under intense pressure as the country records 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Head of the institute, Professor Kwabena Annan, fears the institute may not be able to conduct rapid tests if multiple cases are recorded. Professor Annan says the institute needs to embark on maintenance of equipment used to carry out the tests, which cost millions of dollars. Now, this also follows the confirmation of cases by the Health Minister, Kweku Ajiman-Menu, at a news conference late last night. We'll hear from the Information Minister, Kojo Ponkroma, shortly also. But Professor Kwabena Annan joins us on the line. We are grateful for your time here on Top Story, sir. I would want to first find out, because earlier when my colleague visited your facility, we were told that you were equipped to test up to 100 or so cases. But what's the situation now that we've recorded 2 cases in Ghana?
Thank you very much. We at the University of Ghana Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, we are actually set up to do quite a number of tests, more than 100. But for public health and for emergency response reasons, I wouldn't like to mention the number. It's not good to do that. But we are far beyond 100. The other important point is that, notwithstanding, the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research is a very high-end research institute, whereby Medical Research Institute we are the top notch and we have very advanced equipment. And most of the equipment that we use require to be certified to assure the world that the tests that we run, the results that come out are accurate.
Well, would we still have a...
Hello.
I'm sorry about that. We lost you briefly, sir.
Oh, sorry. So what I'm saying is that we use very high, state-of-the-art equipment. Some of the equipment that we are using, they require certification. What it means that the manufacturers of the equipment will have to, more like re-standardize the equipment and calibrate them yearly. And this is to ensure that the equipment churn out accurate results. And for us to do that, we have to pay fees for certification. We have equipment that will cost as much as $25,000 for just one certification. So really, some of the equipment we are using for testing in COVID-19 also need this kind of certification. So we are raising the and the Ministry of Health. So appropriate funding is made available so we don't have to shut down any equipment. Because we are following international, standards. And if any equipment is not fit to be used, we shall never use it.
This particular equipment that we have, and I want to find out if it's the same equipment that was used to test these 2 cases that have tested positive.
Yes, it includes that. We have 4, separate units of what we call real-time PCR, machines that are being used for this particular test. Yes, for now they are all okay because they are all within warranty, within certification, but in less than a month or so, some of them are already getting off. So we need to do that. So we need to do that immediately before the month ends. Is that what you're saying? No, not for the month end. Maybe somewhere to mid next month. Yes. And what response have you received so far from the Ghana Health Service? Because you mentioned that you've made that clear to them that it ought to be done. What response have you gotten so far? So far, I have a very good relationship and response situation with the Ghana Health Service. The minister himself has contacted us. So I believe that these issues will be sorted by mid next week. They should all be sorted, I believe. And you say you're unable to tell us exactly how many test kits you have available. Yes, it is not good to do that, to tell numbers. When it comes to human behavior and reaction and everything, individuals have a way, the psychology, the mob action, population, and then rumor. And there are so many factors that if you mention the numbers, you can even cause fear and panic among some sections of communities, which may be unfounded. So certain information we don't normally give out. Okay. It's like you are going to war and you want to mention how many troops you have in the field. It's not recommended. But if you have cases in multiple, because following the confirmation of the state, for instance. If we have cases in multiple now, we can test them. But if the cases go into the community, we cannot stand. So we need to prepare more. Okay, because I was saying that since we recorded these 2 cases, there are those who say that they've traveled to areas that have recorded these cases and they hope to voluntarily test. Is that allowed? And do you have the capacity to do so if you have people coming in numbers to voluntarily go through that test? We won't be able to. Because you'll be talking about... I didn't get that. I didn't get the first part of your response. We will not be able to, because you'll be talking about... We're talking about maybe 5,000, 10,000, that kind of thing. So what the Ghana Health Service, the system is doing is the right thing. To use information available to control and to monitor, use the contact tracing to identify groups that need to be quickly screened and quarantined if necessary, things like that. It should be done based on information available. Otherwise, we cannot decide all of a sudden that we are texting all the people in Greater Accra. It can't just work like that.
Okay, so in this particular case, for instance, we know that it was an imported case, like we are told from the health minister, and they might have been on a plane. The Norwegian embassy in Ghana, for instance, they've shut down their office. I'm not sure about the numbers that work in that office, for instance, plus the numbers that they were on the plane with. So say 300, 400, if we up to 500 cases at once, are you able to do so?
Yeah, we will be able to do so, yes.
Okay, but do we know the strand of virus which appeared, this particular case that you tested, is it the same as the one that appeared in China, or has the virus evolved in any way?
Fortunately, so far the information we have indicated that it is the same, but we are also doing more advanced, molecular work on the positive specimen. We are doing sequencing of the genome to see whether there are any mutations or changes that have occurred. So that is in process.
But we don't know. We're still testing that to be sure if it's a different strain or is the same as confirmed in Wuhan.
So far, it is more like, let's say, that strain. But we need to do exact, analysis, molecular analysis, characterization to tell.
Okay. But are you able to tell us the number of cases that you have, suspected cases, I should say, that you have tested over the period as an institute?
Right now, the cases have gone over 60, I think.
Over 60, and out of that, we only have 2 cases testing positive.
Yes.
Okay. We're grateful for your time, sir. That's Professor Kwabena, and then he heads the Noguchi Memorial Institute. Today, the Ghana Health Service and the Ghana Education Service actually held a meeting, and we've been joined on the phone by the Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chuma-Mpofo. We don't have her just yet, but my colleague Maxwell Agbagba has been visiting some international schools today. We know that some of them have announced a total shutdown. We've told you about the Norwegian embassy. They've shut down their offices. That statement that I've just read to you, I'll go through it again later, stating that one of your colleagues, tested positive, and that was part of the announcement that was made yesterday. As a result, the embassy is shut down. All staff are on quarantine as we speak. Maxwell, you visited a number of international schools. Which schools did you visit, and what was the situation there?
Okay, we were at the Lincoln Community School, and we were also at the German Swiss School, and then at the Ghana International School. Now, at the German Swiss School, when we went there, authorities were locked up in a meeting, and our source there told us that the discussion was over coronavirus. The source also mentioned to us that it is possible that the school will be closed for the next 2 weeks to allow for planning purposes, and also for the management to be able to know what their next line of action, is going to be. The German Swiss School is a school where you have people with diverse backgrounds. I mean, they are expatriates whose children actually attend school there. So the concerns are actually high after this particular case was announced by the Ghana Health Service. One thing that was clear to us when we went there was that the security man at the gate would not allow anyone to get access to the compound without sanitizing, their hands. And in fact, there's a sanitizer at a vantage point right in front of the school. Any parents who walked in at the time would have to use the sanitizer before they are allowed, access to the school. We are learning that it is possible that the school will be closed down for 2 weeks. Okay. Now, at the Ghana International School, the parents tell us that sometime 11 p.m. yesterday, the principal of the school, Dr. Mary Shen, actually sent an email to parents of the school notifying them of this particular situation. There was a meeting today. At the time that we were there also, the school authorities were locked up in a meeting discussing coronavirus. But then a communique was issued. There was a press release right after that particular meeting. And as part of the decisions taken, the school, Ghana International School, will be closed down for a period of 2 weeks. And Ghana International School, just like the German Swiss School, also, has people with diverse backgrounds, parents, a lot of them expatriates and all of that. So it is important for the school authorities say it is important for them to take this action. We are, however, learning from our sources that the students there would be using a virtual learning platform as of now. So whilst at home, they will still be taking lessons, but they will not have close contact with their teachers. They would also not be reporting to school. In fact, the email that was sent to the parents yesterday advised that they pick all their essential textbooks, from their lockers. So if you have your maths textbook in a locker in the school, you'd have to pick it up today. If you have English textbook, you'd have to pick it up. And that was what happened during our stay at the Ghana International School. When we interacted with some parents, they actually gave us the information that they had to ensure that their children actually picked all of their books and all of that, and so that the period that they will be staying at home, they would not, lose anything. They would also be able to keep up with studies using the virtual platform.
Okay.
Now, at the
Lincoln Community School, an email was sent earlier to parents of the 2C, 4C, and grade 7 classes. Now, some parents we've been interacting with tell us that a parent that I interacted with in the grade, whose child is in the grade 7, told us that they've had a second email clarifying the first email that was sent to them on the COVID-19. The parents stated that yes, the school has confirmed that there is a family working at the Norwegian embassy. So, there's a man, they have a family working at the Norwegian embassy. This family has their child, at the Lincoln community school. And they've had contact with the staff of the Norwegian embassy.
With their parents. But we are, however, told that this child did not report to school from Wednesday.
Okay.
So the child has not been to school from Wednesday. So he's not had any contact,
with the other children.
Yeah, with the other children. So
but we don't know if it's in connection with the COVID-19, and knowing that he may have had contact with someone who has the disease.
Exactly.
That
so
we don't know.
The school email actually stated that they have not tested. The parents of this child, they have not tested positive for the coronavirus.
Okay.
They've not tested positive, and that was stated in the email that they
sent to parents.
They sent to the parents.
Okay.
But they're saying that it is important, for them to let the parents of these children know. But they are also aware of the misinformation that is going around that a parent has actually contracted contracted this coronavirus case that we talked about.
Okay. But from there, whilst you were roving, you ended up at the Foreign Ministry where you had an interaction with the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. How has it been?
Yes. So we've been speaking to him basically about what they are doing, because we know that some of our embassies outside Ghana have been closed down because of this COVID-19. We've been speaking to the Deputy Minister, Mohammed Tijani, who has been telling us that they are monitoring, the situation in those countries where our embassies have been shut. And as and when the situation improves, we'll be able to, open our doors, the doors of these embassies for consular, services to actually take place. But as it stands now, they remain shut. Okay.
Well, that's my colleague Maxwell Agbaba. Thank you so much for that update. Very apt. And my colleague, let's head to Parliament now. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has also just returned from Parliament, and there's a lot of talk and panic in Parliament as a result of the cases that have been tested, knowing that a Norwegian and then another person that is also from Turkey, we are told he's domiciled in Turkey but of Ghanaian descent, have tested positive for the case. What's the talk in Parliament?
Essentially, the concerns are that some MPs have been on assignments outside the country. They've come back. There's not been situations having to do with them being screened or tested or anything like that. And so there are a number of calls from the MPs, including the need for more testing, a ban on them from traveling, and concerns that even those who come into the public gallery could infect MPs, hence the need to possibly ban that. Some of the MPs have been commenting on that on the floor, including Ras Mubarak, Rashid Purple, and a number of others.
This problem is a security problem, and the Marshal Department must take it up very seriously, because people can just deliberately come here in order to attack members of parliament by smearing, places, and so it should take it very, very seriously how people come in and how they are let into places they should not go into.
Perhaps the time has come for us to take a second look at even allowing visitors to Parliament. And I say so in view of public health, Mr. Speaker. We are not in normal times. And we have to take every precautionary measure to protect the public, to protect Parliament, to protect the staff, and to ensure that we do not have a situation where somebody would bring it from outside to Parliament. And Mr. Speaker, the executive arm of government has imposed a travel ban on all members of the executive. Perhaps it is time for Parliament to also, consider imposing a travel ban on members of Parliament and staff.
So that's the Kumbungu MP, Ras Mubarak there. He's always raised concerns about the officials that accompany the president to Norway. But let's talk about Sam George. I saw that he came to Parliament today in mask and gloves, and he's also been saying that he's trying to test because he's come back from the UK and he's been unsuccessful.
Exactly. So himself, Zaneto Rollins, the MP for Clotty Colley, as well as Kobna Mintakando were all in masks and gloves on the floor of the House earlier today. I asked Sam George why he was wearing that. He says he came back from the UK, which has recorded some cases. He's been trying to get tested to no avail, and he's worried about that because then he possibly could be spreading it. No one knows.
I think that there are members of Parliament who have traveled to Norway, Algeria, myself coming back from the UK, a number of members of Parliament. 6 days ago, I returned on Saturday night. Okay, you have individuals who have come through the airport in Parliament here over the past 2 weeks from Norway, from Algeria, hotbeds of this coronavirus. They are sitting in the chamber with us. They've not been tested. We have not been tested. I think that every member of Parliament should be tested. We should set a very good precedent as leaders of this country, allow ourselves to be tested. You have your Minister of Defense who was in South Korea recently. He's a member of Parliament. Has he been tested? The Minister and government ministers who were in Norway recently at the opening of the Oslo Chancery. All of these individuals, we should have public testing. And that is what is going to encourage the ordinary Ghanaian to subject themselves to this testing. This testing is important for public safety and security. States needs to, the 100 million that we are told has been released. We need to see where the test kits are. Today, as I ask you, as members of the media, do you know where there's the test kit? Do you have a test kit? Can you walk into a pharmacy today and buy a test kit? No. So how do you test yourself? So if members of Parliament, and my trip to the United Kingdom was not a personal trip, it was an official assignment. And so if after returning from an official assignment, the state has a responsibility to ensure public safety and ensure that everyone has the test kits.
What of the argument that when you're not infected, there is no need wearing a mask and...
How do you know I am infected or not infected when you have not done a test on me? You can't look at my face and determine that I'm tested or I'm fit or not fit.
Okay. So for you in the end, what sort of message are you hoping would go out there to other members of the public, even as you show up?
I am hoping that the state will take leadership and provide us the test kits so that every Ghanaian who thinks that they have possibly been exposed would subject themselves openly and willingly to be tested.
Now, the ranking member on Foreign Affairs of Parliament, Mr. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, is asking for a monitoring committee of a sort. Some MPs disagreed with him.
Alexander Fenyomakins and a number of others think if any monitoring needs to be done, the Health Committee of Parliament may well do that.
I think that it will be very, very helpful if this House can consider a special committee to carry out oversight of the preparedness measures that have been announced by His Excellency the President.
Mr. Speaker, your health committee has the competence, the capability, in accord with the rules of this House, to undertake that oversight. Therefore, I suggest that instead of setting up an ad hoc committee for the purposes of this oversight, we should rely on that we already know. As we speak, some schools have already started announcing closures. And so it has become a case beyond just the health ministry. The education ministry at some point will also have to tell us what plans they have in place for our wards in school. Defense, looking at the nature of our military and how they are housed and the gathering and all. So, Mr. Speaker, we need an intersectoral collaboration, and we will all be at ease. We will all be at ease when we are assured that collaboration exists for our safety.
So that's the talk in Parliament today. You heard there Alhassan S. Suhini. He's the MP for Tamale North. Yeah, so that's the interaction there earlier. Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku Gakpo. Of course, the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council have also some directives I'll go through shortly. But issues of holding centers have been of great concern to many health persons. Former Deputy Health Minister Dr. Victor Bampo says a lot must be done in the health sector to fight the virus.
I think that it's good that $100 million has been made available. That's fine, but I want to say that we should learn one thing, and that is that health systems are not built overnight. We can't expect the 100 million to turn overnight into the kind of people that we need to operate the ventilators, to do all the specialist things that people need to stay alive. We must continue to put investment into our health systems. There was a reason why all the health facilities were put up, and I think it would be good for us to maintain this, because if we are guided by history, then every so often some of these events occur. So we know that it will come. We don't have to sit and wait until it's at our door before we then try to.
Now, that's the former Deputy Health Minister, Dr. Victor Bampo. And like I said, the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council have issued a statement, and they say they've been monitoring for the last few weeks developments on the outbreak and rapid spread of the COVID-19 globally since its discovery in China late last year. Other portion says, as we continue to exercise our faith in God through prayer, standing on the word of God in Psalms 91 and 121, we also believe that knowledge and a better understanding of the disease, including the adoption of practical behavioral and attitudinal changes by all Ghanaians, are the surest ways to minimizing the potential spread and impact of the COVID-19 outbreak. Well, they've also put some potential guidelines also out. They're saying that we should shun all fake news on various social media platforms on possible treatment and prevention, and follow strict guidelines as issued by the accredited government agencies responsible for public education on the disease. They've also asked that we minimize church or congregational practices that encourage body contact, such as handshaking, hugging, embracing, exchange of communion cups, and waving of handkerchiefs, regular disinfection of microphones and door handles before, during, and after church services. Also, the placing of sanitizing dispensers or hand washing dispensers at entrances or vantage points, including urinals, lavatories within the church premises, and encourage congregation members to use them before, during, and after church services. It also goes on to say that provision of protective latex hand gloves for church ushers or workers handling or counting money, and then finally any other practical steps that the local church deems fit in support of preventive approaches being suggested. And this is signed by Reverend Professor Paul Frimpong Manso. He's the president of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council. We've also had an interview with a spokesperson of the Chief Imam. They are also putting out some guidelines for those who will be visiting the mosques as well. And that's it for tonight's edition of Newsnight. And if you must buy a sanitizer, make sure that it is above 70% alcohol based. I'm not saying you should just go and be drinking alcohol out there, but make sure that your sanitizers have that. That's it for Top Story, brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. And Gassam, the nation builder. I am Emefa Apawu, and there's more talk on COVID-19 on Ghana Connect with you, Evans.
Absolutely, Emefa. We want you to connect with us tonight, Emefa. The thing about coronavirus is people who beat it. Mm-hmm. If we unite, it's a common enemy. It doesn't know NDC, it doesn't know MPP, it doesn't know religion, it doesn't know ethnic. No. If nobody unites and there is no coordinated attempt, you can leave it to government, but government can't fix it alone.
No.
If we don't behave in the way we should, we do the things that we regularly do, like shake you, my father, that I like to do, or
washing our hands
regularly, meeting and hugging, and the things that make us uniquely Ghanaian.
And like you said, it's not about emotions anymore.
Absolutely.
We just need to do the right thing to fight it.
So seriously, this is what Ghana Connect is about tonight. We want as many of you to get in touch tonight. What are you doing to keep safe? We're going to have a heavy dose of experts from all over the world join us. We're going to have those who lead. And I wonder, I know you're a church leader. You must be taking measures in your church.
Of course, we provided sanitizers. You know, the Veronica bucket for washing of hands. We've made water available at every vantage point so you can wash your hands with soap. And there's a way that you need to wash your hands. So we've made people available. We've trained some people so that they'll do the right way of washing hands, making sure that you reach all the webs and, of course, the tip of the fingernails so that you wash every aspect. And then we are going to avoid the high fives and all that in church. But, of course,
it's going to be difficult, you know, because we're so used to this way of life. It's and our culture. You know,
we have to shake hands.
You know the things I'm struggling to still deal with, when somebody stretches their hand to you, and then you say, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's
okay.
Impolite.
Prince Charles couldn't even do
that.
That
is their culture. It's fine to say I'm not, but in Ghanaian culture, I feel almost impolite. Like I'm struggling not to say I can't shake it because of Corona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we have to get used to it, and that's the conversation we're going to have tonight among ourselves. Without which we cannot win. Ghana Connect starts right now.